What's up, guys, and welcome to the first official episode of the Nani Network. My name's Eli, and I'm one half of this den of fuckery, along with my partner Shay, to talk with you guys about all things anime. We're going to be giving you plot lines, character development, and all the wet of the anime world. So, Shay, let's get into it.
Welcome to the crew, y'all. So today's episode, we're going to be covering Black Clover. That was the show that sparked our interest in doing something like this.
Yeah.
So we're going to kick it off with the 5 things that you need to know about Black Clover. We're not going to go point for point or detail for detail. We tried that before. It was terrible. So let's just kick it in. Black Clover is basically about these 2 orphan boys who were left abandoned in this peasant village on the outskirts of town. We have our series protagonists, Asta and Yuno. So Asta is a monolith child, which in this universe means he has no magic capabilities and is essentially useless.
Poor thing.
Then we have his partner, Yuno, who, to the opposite of Asta, was gifted in magic from birth. He has large magic reserves, and he's also really good at controlling his power. The goal of our 2 series protagonists is to one day become the Wizard King, which is the most coveted title in the land.
Whoa. Da, 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 da. Right. So now we're going to dive into the 5 things you must know about Black Clover. So, Shay, what is the first must know?
First must know, like we previously touched on, is that Asta is monolith. Now, it is a recurring trope throughout this anime.
That's why it's not only important to say it in the description, but to say it in the dang 5 things you must know.
Whenever they can remind this boy that he is useless, he has little more value than a paperweight, they will bring it up like...
And it's not an exaggeration, because people, even watering your plants, so like regular shit, they're using magic, they're using mana to do it. So to have no mana, he is like a leprechaun in today's society.
Yeah, they literally treat him like a leper. Like, they're like...
I said leprechaun.
And I added to that.
I like the leper.
You like that? No, he's ostracized. They don't fuck with him. They think something is wrong with him, which jury's still out on that one. But
so of course, like when there's somebody as crappy as him, there has to be
Yeah, which is like, I want to say the Sasuke. Naruto reference. He's like the Sasuke of this anime. Surly attitude, dark hair, handsome, easy on eyes,
and just hella powerful naturally.
Yeah. So these 2 are rivals, self-proclaimed rivals. I don't know what the fuck they got to be feuding over, but because they both want the title of Wizard King, that's where they have like this little play rivalry.
Get that shit out the way, because if you trying to go for what I'm going for, we might as well fight for it.
Exactly. Now. Like, let's not like get down to it, and it's like, oh.
Yeah. Well. I mean, since you already brought up Naruto, it's not like Naruto where it's like, oh, okay, I want to be Hokage. No, I want to be. Okay, well, we'll all compete friendly. No, they're like, fuck you. Because that was fuck you.
Nothing short of death is gonna make me step in on your behalf.
Simp. But the second must know for this series is there's Magic Knight teams, and the Magic Knight teams all fall under the leadership of the Wizard King. So there are 8 or 9 Magic Knight Kings. 9.
8.
There are
squads.
Magic Knight squads. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Squads?
They all start to blur together, really.
Right, but there's the Golden Dawn, the Silver Eagles, the Crimson Lions, the Blue Rose Knights, the Aquadare, the Coral Peacocks, the Green Praying Mantis, the Purple Orcas, and the Black Bulls.
And as you can probably tell from some of the names, some of them suck.
Yeah. They're the fucking purple orcas. Don't put me on that team.
Aquadare? You think that somebody's going to be shaking in their boots when they hear the Aquadare
hearing the name, no, but you know what? I might not have been tight being put on that team, because we find out that the Aquadare was previously ran by our current Wizard King.
But they were called something different. They were called like the Grey Dare or something like that, which is, I feel like it has a little bit more regality to it than the fucking Aquadare.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gray.
You know what, huh?
Gray, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the importance of these teams are that our main characters each end up on one. Yuno ends up on the Golden Dawns, which are revered as the top, most elite of the squads. And unfortunately, Asta, but as expected, ends up on the Black Bulls, which is the worst of the worst.
Which, just gonna cut in here, he was really lucky to even make it onto a Magic Knight squad, because although his physical prowess was impressive, he had literally nothing else to
he still doesn't have any magic, you know.
Yeah, and there's like other things to being a Magic Knight than just being strong. So like one of the tests they did was like flying capabilities.
That's me. Don't do that. You have to bring that up. Come on.
And as you can tell by our laughs, he can't fly. He can't do anything really. Pitiful. Yeah.
So he was lucky to land on a team, but of course he was picked by his Captain Yami, who we will find out throughout the series that he's really just a collector of fucking misfits.
Yeah.
Anybody who has a little, like, you know, our team, the Black Bulls, I call them our team because that's our squad who we follow, but they are super powerful, but they all have like a flaw. Something wrong with them. Like
they have like
tick.
4 mutes.
Yeah. Like a
drunk, a coward.
Somebody who can't stop eating, a coward, somebody who can't talk. Like, what's going on here?
And then Yami's not, all his marbles aren't there either, because like,
right.
I can't name an example off the top of my head, but there's something off about him. Yeah.
It's there. But yes, that's the importance.
More time shitting than working. Like.
Literally. But that's the importance of those two teams. But even more so, the 12 Magic Knights squads the 9 being on those teams is a stepping stool to becoming the Wizard King. You know? Mm-hmm. And that is their ultimate goal.
Right. So the Golden Dawn, the team that ended up on, one of the things they're also pretty popular for is that their current captain, William Vangeance, he is the person at this time who is the closest to becoming the next Wizard King.
Right, so speaking of, our current Wizard King is Julius Novachrono, who is a complete fucking badass.
Yeah.
I love this dude
Elijah
so
and I
much.
really like Julius.
I fuck with him so heavy. He uses, as his last name suggests, he uses time magic. So we really see some cool moves out of him, and he's like a key guy. But it's important to know that the Wizard King is the guy who leads over the Magic Knight squads, but there is an overall king of the Clover Kingdom who Julius is supposed to be like his main protector. That's the job of the Wizard King, to protect the king if there was ever anguish bestowed upon the kingdom.
I'm gonna point out here that the king is essentially basically a puppet king, and he's useless.
Yeah.
But Julius comes second only to the regular king.
It's like Julius runs the show. It's like how, you know, Dumbledore really ran the shit in Harry Potter, but then the Minister of Magic kept saying, Cornelius Fudge kept thinking that he was in charge. It's like, listen, Dumbledore's that dude, right?
Albus Percival, Wulfric,
Brian, Dumbledore.
Just pipe down, baby.
Something I do want to point out about Julius as well, because I think that just, outside of abilities, personality matters, and Julius has a really nice personality. I feel like a lot of times in these anime, when we meet like the strongest protagonist, like who the goal is, the end goal, the the number one captain or whatever, they're usually a dickhead. Like they usually are,
if they're not ancient in age.
Yeah.
If they're not an old grandpa.
What's a if they're both? Because they be having these old dickheads. Like, first of all, you need to relax. For your crap your diaper.
Check your fucking heart rate. Like, don't get too riled up with me.
So Julius actually isn't that old. I want to say, I don't even know, but he's not that old. He's maybe in his 30s. He's really nice. He treats all of his squads fairly.
Well, he's a magic nerd, so he's obsessed with magic, so he approaches everything from this almost childish wonder, and he's impressed with everyone. He doesn't shit on people, and that's what's really cool about him. He thinks everyone's magic can be improved upon, and that is super similar to we find out the first Wizard King, who he thought everyone's magic had a purpose. The first Wizard King's name was Lumiere, and we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit more later, but he was a fixer, and he thought everyone's magic had a purpose, and people were more than just elitist people who use their magic to prove their power, and that's what was super dope.
I want to say that Julius is maybe the second person that we're introduced to in the anime who doesn't automatically shit on Asta. So Yami, the captain of the Black Bulls, the squad that Asta ends up becoming a part of, was the first person to, give him a chance. And then when Julius met him, he took a shine to Asta, and he thought that it was really amazing what his capabilities were.
He let him know that I couldn't do what you do.
Yeah.
And no one in this world can because you're monoliths. And that was so sweet.
It was. I thought it was. I live for shit like that. So
yeah, they built him up for, and y'all see why.
And then they made sure they were like, okay, so you got the Wizard King on your side, so they make sure to let you know that all other 8 captains. Well, let me say 7, because one of them we'll find out later. It was kind of sweet, but all other 7 captains shat on Asta upon meeting him, which is just bad manners. But I digress. So third thing that you need to know about Black Clover are the elves. So that's just the umbrella category, the elves.
Dun, dun.
So Black Clover is 2.5 seasons underway, and they have about 50 episodes apiece. So 125 episodes of build-up for us to reveal,
That was the reason. But the elves are like the big bads, or the people with the biggest vendetta against the Clover Kingdom.
Yes. So the Black Clover universe does feature other races. Humans are the predominant race, but we see that we have witches,
dwarves.
I was gonna say gnomes, but yes, dwarves. Yeah. Dwarves.
Dragons, spirits,
and of course elves.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty cool.
But the elves were, what were they? Eliminated?
Assaulted, annihilated.
Annihilated,
yeah.
Yes.
Their entire race was annihilated by
died
the
out. Then none left. So that is what sparked the controversy. Well, I won't even call it a controversy.
And yeah, basically by some elven magic, one of the elves was able to transfer her consciousness into somebody in the present day.
Was Patri a girl?
Patri's a girl. Patri sounds like a girl elf name. Put it down. She grabbed her phone, guys. It's okay. Patri sounds like a girl elf name, and she had 2 pigtails in the past.
She had 1 ponytail. He had 1 ponytail, and Licht also had a ponytail.
And I love how you're now addressing him, Patri, as he, to dig your heels in. Just to dig your heels in. You're saying...
We will agree to disagree.
So Patri was able to transfer her consciousness into somebody else and enact a revenge to bring back the elven race. And that's the big plot with the elves. So we see them attacking people, all on a quest for these gems, and just picking and poking at the Clover Kingdom as they don't know what the fuck's going on. They're just showing up in all these places and nobody knows what the deal is and what's going on, and almost until it's too completely fucking late. Honestly,
yeah, I mean, no one figured out what was going on.
They actually never caught on to what exactly was going on until it was too late. And so we figure out that the elves were just bringing their spirits. Not only Patri's spirit was transferred into someone, but she was the only conscious spirit.
Well, so let's, I guess, give a little backstory on what happened to the elves. So before the elves and the humans, they didn't necessarily live cohabiting space, but they were aware of each other and had their own separate territories. The first Wizard King met the elf leader Patri when Patri saved his sister. Yes, Licht. Fuck. The first Wizard King meets the elf leader Licht, who saves his sister. Him and the sister fuck. She gets pregnant. They get married, and during their wedding ceremony. I'm sorry, Elijah. Do you think you could tell it better?
Just some class.
She was round, okay?
She was
heavy with child.
I believe they made love.
I think they seem to have been because the baby came before the marriage.
I don't think an elf even knows how to fuck, to be honest. Do you think elves fuck?
Oh, how else did she get pregnant? Did he turkey based her?
No, I think he used his light magic too. No, I don't know what the fuck he did.
So during this wedding ceremony between Licht, the elven leader, and the princess of the Clover Kingdom, this human woman, they are attacked by humans, and everyone, including the princess, is murdered. During this bacchanal, the elves' consciousness is transferred into humans of the Clover Kingdom without the humans being aware that there is a spirit living within them.
Now that she's done mansplaining what I was saying,
Wow,
guys.
don't you fucking dare.
Now that she's done mansplaining what I was saying, guys. Yes. So even though she was the only one aware of the consciousness, their big plan was to basically activate their elfin consciousness in all the people who they were now inhabiting in the present day.
Without getting their toes wet? You wasn't even going to tell them why?
I did. I told them why. They were annihilated. But anyways, yes, so that was their big plan, and they actually, to some extent, succeed in their plan. Mm-hmm. But the elves, honestly, were just trying to get revenge, which I completely support. Like, if the humans completely annihilated my race and I had a chance to get them back and make them pay for what they did, because the elves were naturally more gifted in mana than the humans. You know, as usual, humans get the short end of the stick. We're not all that special, ever, in any of these animes. The regular-ass fucking humans are never that special. The elves were more gifted, the witches were more gifted, the devils
really
are more gifted,
like a bunch of gimps.
and they're like the humans. They I don't know how those humans learned how to do magic, but they got clovers. No.
Second, the elves' quest for revenge. Well, I told you that. I don't think that.
No, it is I too second.
Excuse the fuck out of me. Yeah, like, I mean, come on, like they disrespected your shit. They just like killed off an entire, like, from their perspective, they were attacked unnecessarily. So I wasn't mad at it. I thought that it was like, I'm like, hey, I do the same thing down with the humans, like, but obviously after watching the show for a little bit, like, these are characters that you're like, okay, you know, pick a side. I'm like, okay, you know, the people now don't have anything, I guess, to do with what happened to y'all all those years ago, but their whole point was revenge and to also just bring their consciousness back into the world and reestablish elf kind.
Well, and they were mad. They were mad to see that not only did the humans, like, survive, they thrived. There's way more humans now than there were, like, all those years ago. They're like, the humans were just a small blip, right. And now, like, after you destroyed our entire race, you guys freaking multiplied like roaches.
And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they like expand onto the elves' land, like that land that used to be theirs? Yeah, like why wouldn't they, right? That's what these humans do, just colonize us.
Put up a fucking statue. But anyways, the fourth must know you need to know, and it's relatively new, but not really, is the devils. So we said there's different races in here, and we don't even know if the devils count as a race, but we find out that there is devils in the house. There's devils in the house. But they say the story of the 4-leaf clover, and basically the 3 leaves of a clover represent something. Behind the 4th leaf, there's luck. As we all know, a 4-leaf clover, you're lucky. But behind the 5th leaf lies the devil. So our main character, Asta, has a 5-leaf grimoire, and we see a couple times throughout there that there is this devil inside the book, which he can communicate with, well, to a certain extent. We only seen him kind of communicate with him once when he kind of activated Black Asta mode, which is something you guys will see, but I'll leave that for you guys to watch.
You call that communication when he tried to take over his body?
Yeah, this guy tried to just assault Asta and take it over.
He said, you're doing it wrong.
That's how they communicate, apparently. And I just think Asta handled it as best he could. But we kind of see, we're learning more about these devils.
Right now.
So we know that they're super duper powerful on another completely new level. They can clap around the elves.
If the elves were, you know, the original ones to be with the mana, like, the devils, they are
the mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they can use cursed magic and all these magic that would otherwise drain even an elf without even batting an eye.
A badass thing that we saw was that the devil, who we find out was actually the genuine protagonist, the one who sparked antagonist,
like the big bad behind it all.
Yes, the one who sparked the conflict between the humans and the elves. He can use something called word soul magic, which was fucking nuts, because whatever he says comes to pass. So if he was wounded, he says heal
injury,
and it's fixed. It's like the best health insurance ever.
And we see, like, later on that Asta, using his powers, gets himself into a little bit of trouble, and that's kind of where we see the series heading, explaining more what the fuck these devils are. But as of right now, they are a super important plot piece, so they have, even though we don't know a lot about them, they had to be on our 5 things you must know, because you cannot watch this show without knowing about the devils, or at least considering them in your book.
All right, guys. So the fifth and final thing that we have on our list of 5 things that you need to know about Black Clover is this bullshit ass trial that they try to hit Asta with at the wrap up of the big fight.
This is a soft spot.
No, you know what? No, because I'm gonna tell you right now, this is why I don't understand, the heroes and the protagonists. They put these people through so much shit that it doesn't make sense. Like, I know I'd be a villain. If I was ever in anything, I'd be a villain. If I got a power, I'd be a villain. If I got magic, I'd be a villain. Don't let me get a come up.
I'd be an anti-hero.
Do not let me get a mystical come up. I would be a villain because it don't make sense. After all of this shit that they had to go through, fighting for 3 days and 3 nights straight. I haven't even had time to change my drawers, and you're gonna pull me into this courtroom and hit me with some bullshit. So what they were trying to do was pin the whole devil elf debacle on Asta. So they gave him an ultimatum. Look, either by they I mean the judge. So the judge they have, his name is Damnatio Kira, and his magic is scale magic. So he basically decides whether
he weighs the facts.
Yes, he weighs the faiths and sees if you're innocent or not. But it depends on, they do have a panel of judges who are royalty, right? Who don't give a shit about these people to begin with. They're already in their ways. The Republicans.
Basically the bitches. The people who felt like they weren't protected well enough during this. Somebody must go down.
My second bedroom has a hole in it, and I don't see nobody fixing
Where
it.
the fuck are we gonna vacation in the summer? Kill this man.
What they did was they told Asta, basically, if he didn't take responsibility for the entire fuckery that happened, they were going to kill or arrest. They were going to arrest and kill all of the magic knights and civilians.
Well, pause. Let's just be clear. They had captured Gauche's little sister.
I was getting to that.
I'm sorry.
I was getting there.
That for me was insane. Like, we're talking about them attacking anybody else. They had already got her.
Ruined my build up.
I'm so sorry.
Building it up.
No,
but that's literally what they did. So they told them that they were going to basically round up and murder everyone who was inhabited by an elf spirit, and one of those people was Gauche's little sister Marie, who was like 5 fucking years old.
Yeah.
So they already got her wrapped up. She was in the courtroom, and they told Asta, he saw her, it's gonna be her or you, and then it's gonna be them or you. So what's it gonna be? And honestly, I would have called the bluff. I would have said, so killer. So killer, because at that point it just doesn't make sense, because half of the Magic Knights turned into elves. The whole Golden Dawn squad was elves.
Yeah.
They had they had captains, 2 captains who were elves. So you're telling me that you're going to kill 2 captains, half of the Magic Knights, and then they already had 2 other captains who, although they were not elves, were on the side of
Asta and
of sense. They were on the side of sense. So you're gonna kill all these people? Is that what you're gonna do? Do you think that makes sense? And who's gonna protect the kingdom? You with your little scales? Huh? Is that what you're gonna do?
Like, they could have easily flipped the script. So for plot's sake, he didn't. But if he called that bluff and said, "Go ahead, kill all your most powerful people," who's gonna kill him?
Oh, you?
Who was gonna kill him?
What was the reason? It doesn't make sense. You already know who the bad guy is. Everything was handled, but just to be a dickhead for dickhead's sake, let's give him another thing to just bring him down, right?
Like, as if don't step off the main character's
neck. As if he hasn't had strife for 135 episodes. Yeah. Let's add him, but put something on his record. Livid. It made me livid. I loved it. It gave me life, because I'm like, I need this.
But you know what? You know what this show did? This show gave us a big bad for almost 3 seasons. So I was almost like, what the fuck's gonna happen? Because I didn't want it to end. So, this trial really sparked like what was gonna come next for the series.
It kept your knickers wet.
Yeah, it let you know, because a product of the trial, because of course they ain't gonna really kill the main character. You can't kill this man. So now he has to basically quest to find out more about these devils, to show that they're responsible and not him, and that he has control over this power and that it could be beneficial to the kingdom rather than a hindrance.
Right, because I think that one of the things is that they needed to find proof of the devil's existence because they were like outside of like the 5 people who were locked in this chamber fighting them. There's
Right.
no proof.
Locked in this alternate universe. They went through like a portal, and so only these people saw what really happened.
So there was no proof. Of course they're gonna think that your captain's vouching for you. So there was no proof to the royals and the nobles that these devils exist. So you are the devil, the only devil that they know of, and you are the primary threat.
They had pictures. First of all, let's be clear. I didn't know these niggas even had cameras. Well, they had a picture of him in the newspaper as the devil. I said, what the fuck? I said, where did y'all get the news? Y'all didn't see all this other shit that was going down?
Taking pictures. They didn't see me win?
Were you there when they were attacking me in the witch village? Like, what's going on here? So, surprise, what the fuck? Hello?
Bullshit. Like, livid.
They said, that's how we know what's in the paper.
That made me more upset than the elves, than the devil. Then Asta losing his arms, that was the most heated that I had been watching the series, was that trial, because I was like, no, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. But I loved it because I feel like some animes do struggle with this after they have that build up, like Bleach did this. Sorry, I do love Bleach, but when they have like that build up for like a couple of seasons and then you have the big fight, they kind of fall off a little bit on what to do next, and then the subsequent seasons are a little slow until they can pick up a new big bad. Right. So that I have faith in the oncoming episodes.
They sowed enough seeds in other aspects of the show that I'm interested. I'm still really interested to see what happens next. But those are the 5 things you must know about Black Clover, wrapped up in a nutshell, but not really. Next, we're going to go on to the segment, Characters You Fuck With. In this segment, we're really going to be talking to you guys. We're going to pick one character each, sometimes maybe 2. We don't know. But we're going to be picking one character each, and we're going to be telling you why we fuck with them, what role they played in our hearts.
Yeah. So for Black Clover, it was really hard to narrow it down because we are 3 seasons in, and it is a lengthier. It's a lengthier anime, and they do have a plethora of characters to choose from. Elijah, did you want to go first?
Oh,
I mean, I can go. I know who I like. My character. Ooh, now I want to do 2. Okay, I'm gonna do. 1. Okay. So my character that I fuck with is going to have to be Marileona Vermilion / Fuegoleon Vermilion. I feel like I can mash them up since they're brother and sister. They are part of the Vermilion household. So, Marileona is an amazing female protagonist. She's badass. She's so fucking badass. Oh my god, this woman, strength, poise, grace. Well, no, I'm lying. She's wild. I really don't even know where to start with her. She...
the gushing. The gushing right now. The gushing.
No, she is...
I agree with everything she's saying, but...
She's like no other. Like, she does not give a fuck. I think that's like the best way. She does not give a fuck.
She's like a honey badger.
The whole reason
honey badger don't give a fuck.
She even came like, okay, so Marileona is very powerful. However, she does not choose to be associated with the Magic Knights because it's just not her style, right? She's like, I don't want to be part of this. I have no interest in it. So she actually chose to live off the land in the wild somewhere. So because of that, she spent a lot of time in an area that was overflowing with mana in the atmosphere. There's a word for that, but I don't know what the fuck it was called.
It was a mana zone.
Was it a mana zone?
Yeah.
Sure. So she spends a bunch of time just observing the natural mana of this area. So she is kind of like, in where she has like a natural amount of innate magical ability. And when you see this woman fight, she's stronger than both her brothers. One of her brothers, who is one of the Magic Knights captains by default because she didn't want the title, but who I also love. Don't get me wrong, I also love Fuegoleon. He is amazing. He's handsome. But Marileona, she manhandles other captains. Like when she say let's go, and when she say get out of my way, get out of her way. Because she said, I'll kill you by accident.
Yeah. You like that,
It
yeah.
was, oh my god. Like, if you need to see her fight scenes, even if you just look it up on YouTube and see her fight scenes with Raya the Disloyal, she, go ahead, Elijah, just take over because I'll keep going.
She's
badass. She's the best. She's the best female protagonist that I've ever watched.
Mic drop. Okay. Yeah. Done. That's dope. No, I agree. Mary Leona's dope. I fuck with her. Figueroa, he's dope, but maybe not up there with her. I'm glad you chose her.
Yeah, she's my number one.
For me, I choose Charmy. Charmy Pappleton, I believe it is. But Charmy, she is a reoccurring character. She's actually a member of the Black Bulls, and her flaw as being one of his little wrangled misfits is she eats too much, and she has cotton creation magic as her magic ability, and so she creates these little like sheep who create food for her to eat in any situation. She can transform sheep chefs that can cook anything for her at any moment. She goes on these little adventures and she gets food and she creates things. She gets sick. She for me is like the comic relief I need in an anime. This show gave us so much, and it gave us a lot of action and a lot of stuff, and there are a lot of characters who make you laugh, but there's none like Charmy, and the show knows it, because at the end of each episode, if you watch after the credits, which I always do, you see like they have these little Charmy clips where she's like this little pygmy version of herself doing all these crazy shits.
I think they know that she's a fan favorite.
They know she's definitely like a fan favorite, and she's so funny. Like, she has so many quotables, and it's like it's like something I love to see. Like, we see her in all these moments being a badass, and we also learn these crazy things about her towards the end of the series, that she's a wolf in sheep's clothing. To say, I won't give it all away, but she's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and she is just so dope to watch. I hope that they expand on her, because they really need to zero in a little bit more on a couple characters in the Black Bulls. And even though Charmy's a reoccurring character, she's mostly used as comic relief. So I want to see her flex, because we saw her flex a little bit. She flexed for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And I was like,
they said, "Oh, baby, dip your toe in it. Get that toe wet."
Nani?
That's all we're gonna show you.
What's going on here? But that's why Charmy is the character that I'm fucking with right now. I'm fucking with Charmy OD.
So Black Clover is about 150 something episodes in. So they do go over a lot of themes, some of which can be, I guess, tricky to understand if you aren't paying rapt attention to it like Elijah and I were. So we actually found this wiki fan page that had some popular questions that maybe weren't made super clear in the anime. So we thought that it would be cute if we went over them and tried to take a whack at answering them. These are just our opinions on what the answers are. It may not be correct, so don't come for us, because we will retaliate.
We will, yes.
Do you want to do number one?
Sure. So the first question we found was, why is William Vengeance still an active magic knight?
And I think that's a good ass question.
Period. So I think the reason why Vengeance is still, well, we address him as Vengeance, and he is addressed as Vengeance in the show. But the reason why I think Vengeance is still a magic knight is because his relationship with the Wizard King, one, because not everybody knew that he was actually licked, or a Patri in disguise. So I believe it was only Yami and the Wizard King who finally found out that identity. So I think they're keeping it under the wraps for him, because the Wizard King isn't even mad at him, because it really was two different souls, so he doesn't fault him. But at the end of the day, fuck Vengeance, because you knew what the fuck was up. You knew what Patri's ass was doing the whole freaking time.
Exactly.
Don't do that.
And then the Magic King want to be like fake disappointed, like he's like, oh, you know, like a parent, like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. And it's like, no, nigga, he tried to kill you.
Yeah, like, that's stupid shit. But that's definitely why I think that he's still an active magic knight.
I fully believe that he needs to be excommunicated and have the book thrown at him. But no, they want to spend all this time giving us the trial. But Vengeance gets off scot-free.
Right. That's just crazy.
Bullshit. Second question. How did Licht get the Demon Slayer and the Demon Dweller swords? So, that was a good question. I actually had to go and watch it myself, because I forgot what Licht's power was, but Lick's power type is actually sword magic. So that is why he was able to get these swords, right? This is why this is what his grimoire produced were his demon swords.
Right, they were like elven swords
Yeah.
anyway, so it made sense. But like they weren't the same swords as Asta's, you know,
It
because
was, but just the
well, not the same.
files.
Like they didn't have the anti-magic ability.
Yes.
They had the anti-magic ability to do the devil in Asta's grimoire that it was not possessed by a devil, but they definitely were used for different purposes. We see like a couple times in the series use it. Well, not a couple times, but towards the end when we get that full blast of story from the beginning shit, we really get to see like using his actual abilities. So that's pretty cool. Question 3. If grimoires disappear when a person dies, how is there any left to go around? This one is like teetering because I feel like it makes sense what happens. Like we see a little bit when Fuegoleon's bleeding out that it comes untethered and like the pages kind of wither away, but I think that they rebuild in the library because they say that they recycle. At the end of everyone's life, it withers away and then it waits for the next call, I believe.
Yeah, I think that so like we see the pieces like the grimoire start to vanish and then I think that it's reformed in the grimoire library. Like you don't need it no more.
That's why everyone in all the lands goes to one place. I think that makes sense.
Is it
well, everyone in each kingdom goes to one place. So when somebody from this kingdom, these books return to this place.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if like there was a calling in another kingdom if they just shuffled around because all you see is the spines of the grimoires, and I'm pretty sure no one's taken stock or inventory.
Right.
So
and like Asta's came out of the ground. Didn't Yuno's come out of the ground as well? Or
no,
it came out. It like parted books. Parted books. Like here it is. So it's weird. So they don't tell us a whole lot about how this grimoire thing works or what happens after it. But that's definitely what I think it is. You know.
So the next question that we have is: can imitation or painting magic adapt any magic type? So that was a really good question. So we see an example of imitation magic in Raya the Disloyal. So he has the ability to it's copy magic, I believe it's called,
right, yeah.
where he has the ability to mimic someone's power, but it's not just a visual thing. Like it actually mimics the spell type and the attack force.
And it's dope because I think every spell he copies becomes a page in his grimoire because he could still use people's ability. Once he copies your magic, he can use it freely whenever he wants. It won't be as strong, I don't think, but I think that he definitely could use it.
Yeah, if anything, it's just maybe like a maybe small fraction off of what the original spell was, but it's still dope because it's no limitations not no limitations, but he's not limited to the type of magic that he can replicate, save for anti-magic, because he cannot replicate anti-magic.
Right, he couldn't.
We also see with Rill does painting magic, but if he draws an element type like a water attack or a fire attack, it does do the intended damage of a water or fire spell.
Right, like at one point he drew Zeus and Zeus shot a thunderbolt and that shit was, you best believe it was fucking thunder. Alright? And I think it also comes from the person's mana because Rill is just, he was one of those extremely gifted kids. He was a captain and he was still a kid.
Yeah.
So, so I think his stuff still wouldn't be as powerful as somebody of a greater skill level using electricity, but against somebody with his just sheer strength that he has, I think his attacks are just powerful. But I think if Marileona came at him with fire and he tried to use his fire against her, she would eat his ass. Period.
But Zenna.
Like simp. Number 5. So for these questions, we kind of like adapted what the questions were. Some of them are really long, so we just got the gist and we wrote it out. But this one I wrote down verbatim because I think it's imperative we understand what they meant. It says, in Black Clover, new spells are randomly produced. If they don't need no actual practice or learning.
Do they not?
Do they? Oh, sorry. No, I'm sorry. Do they don't need no actual practice or learning? Do they don't need no... Shay.
Do they don't need no actual practice or learning?
Thank you for asking. I don't think they don't need no... I think... To answer the question is, we get the gist. We know what they're asking. So...
You don't think that they don't need...
I think they do need practice and learning, and I think that's why they straight up say it, first of all, but I think that's why the spells appear over time. Once you're using your spells, and you don't have to use your grimoire and your spells, you're just using your magic. whether you're just casting a water bubble and like spraying somebody like Noelle would do when she's mad, or casting wind without little what is it, tornadoes carrying people. You naturally use your abilities, and as those grow, you gain access to other spells.
Yes, and I do want to say that we've seen instances where someone has developed a new magical ability through practice and dedication, like Noelle with her
Water
bubble.
bubble to
What?
get them
Yeah,
down
the
there.
water
Yeah.
bubble. But we've also seen situations where a new spell appears out of stress.
Stress, heightened emotion, like.
Right, like when they're really in a dire situation. Again with Noelle, when her siblings were about to be murdered. I don't know why. Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But when her siblings were about to be murdered, she leveled up there as well, where that there was no practice necessarily for that skill, but it was because it was a high stress situation and she knew she needed to level up to be able to save them. So we've seen both situations, but it's not like you can just level up without putting the work in.
Right, exactly. And I feel like sometimes in those situations, like they can't replicate it. Like when she tried, when she did have that like other, Noelle leveled up a lot. Like when she didn't have that other level up, she only could use that with Dragon's Roar once, and then she had to work back up to being able to use it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think they do. They don't need. Yeah, they do need.
Yeah, they do need.
They do need.
Sometimes they don't need, if the need is there, but.
But there's always some type of need.
Yeah.
But that locks in those frequently asked questions. They were pretty funny. I fucked with them.
Yeah.
But now we're going to lock that bitch in. This segment is where we make predictions for the future. So this is an ongoing anime right now. Right now it's kind of on pause, whatever. But we're going to make predictions for what we think is going to happen without any help from the manga. We are strictly watching the anime.
Okay, so Elijah, you know what you think is gonna happen? What are you locking in?
I'm locking in that Asta is going to at some point give in to the devil. And it might not be intentional because we already saw him have this bout with him when the Queen of Witches first activated in him, and he barely came out of that winning. So I think something's gonna happen where he's gonna need even more power, or maybe he gets a new sword and even more anti magic is flowing through him, and it's gonna be too much, and he's gonna bug the fuck out, and the Black Bulls might have to. Definitely, I'm locking this in. They're gonna have to fight him, or something's gonna go wrong.
I'd love to see that.
That would be dope.
The whole squad versus Asta and like full devil possessed. Ooh, okay. Giving me some Naruto vibes. Not gonna lie, like when he goes nine tail or four tail or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like something like that.
Okay. I fuck with it. I second that. So what I'm gonna lock in is that I think that Yuno is part elf. I do have a reason for that. So when we see the elves' possession of the humans, whose bodies they were laying dormant in, Yuno is the only character who does not get possessed by his elf spirit. And later we find out that it was actually Lick's infant unborn child that had taken over Yuno's body. So I'm not sure if it was because the spirit was a baby
and didn't have the will. Maybe?
Yeah, but I feel like Yuno adapted too well to that whole elf shit, and he looked the part. Like the looks was all there. So I will, and then we
his
also
wind spirit's an elf.
His wind spirit's elf, and then we also find out a little later on that there's crossbreeding.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he was like half elf or yeah. So that's what I'm locking in. Yuno is part elf. That's why he was abandoned.
All right, fuck with that. We have our 2 lock-in guys. We're going to be keeping track of these guys as the series progress.
See who's right, who hit the nail on the head, who's wrong.
And maybe change it around, because you never know. We don't know what's going to go on, and that's what's good about this show. You never know what the fuck's going to happen. And
very last thing, the Nani rating.
Before we close out, we have to give this show a rating. This is strictly me and Shay's ratings. We don't discuss it beforehand. Me and her have separate thoughts, separate opinions on these shows. So I'll be giving mine and she'll be giving hers. Flip a coin. I'll go first.
You want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I fuck with this show heavy. Let me just leave with that. I like Black Clover. There's few shows where I really sit there and I enjoy watching every fucking bit of it, especially with the pretense of mana. Like sometimes I had like a stigma. I don't even know where it came from, but I was like, mana's a power source. I don't know if I'm gonna like this. This show took me, and I wasn't ready. And I wasn't ready. But the ride was so dope. I love the characters. I love the plot. I love the powers. I love the fucking powers. And I just love how everything meshes up together. That shit tastes so good. And I'm going to lock in this Nani rating at, you know what? I think I am going to give it a 9.2.
Wow.
And that's high, but I really enjoy watching it as of right now. And I can see myself, I have videos in my phone of like scenes from this show.
He's
like,
a fangirl.
I'm fangirling, but like this shit, just like little funny shit for me to watch like in my room at night. Just ha. But I just like the show, so I'm locking it in at 9.2.
All right, so I'm gonna give it a Nani rating of 8.5. And I love Black Clover. I fuck with Black Clover heavy. It's definitely made its way onto, I want to say, like my top 5 anime list. I will admit that there were moments in the beginning where I was like, when I first started watching the anime, I was like, it was kind of like a will I won't I like continue kind of thing. But once they hit their stride, like Elijah said, it took me. It didn't start off slow, but it started off like the protagonist. I like him off the strength, just that he's a protagonist, but I find him very annoying. He's very, very annoying. Like I told Elijah, I already have a Naruto. I did not need another one.
Oh, God.
So like the overzealous, super hyper, always loud and scream. Like this man is screaming constantly at the top of his lungs for no good reason. So
there's reason.
He can be a little annoying to me sometimes, but he has grown on me. I do like his spirit, I guess. But once the anime hits its stride, and I love the way that they uncover their plot. Like that devil thing took me by fucking surprise. I mean, I'm actually pretty easy to fool, to bamboozle. It's not hard to get one over on me, but that I didn't see. Did you see it coming?
No, I didn't see it coming.
Cause I was like, wait, cause I feel like there's somebody who's gonna watch it, and be like, oh, you didn't.
I at one point was annoyed that they kept bringing up the freaking devil shit. It's like, okay, there's a devil in the 5th Clover, whatever. Shut up about it. Like, and now it's like, oh.
Just dragging that point home. But then you see, like, the way they did that revelation to me was beautiful. It was amazing. So
it was out.
I'm pretty sure, like, once we keep watching, my rating would go up. But like, I gave it again an 8.5 off the strength that season 1 was calm. It wasn't any. But I mean, for most anime, I guess to be fair, like the season 1 is like your intro. They get your feet wet, introduce certain topics and things. But for a season that was 50 episodes, like,
I thought the progression was crazy.
It was cute.
I think the progression is faster than like My Hero and like other shows. Like,
you think so?
Yeah, the progression was pretty speedy.
Well, I'm locking in 8.5. All right, guys, that was it for the first episode of Nani Network.
Woo.
We had a blast filming this. It's been a long time coming, and we just wanted to make this as a space for people who love anime as much as we do, geek out as much as we do, like challenge us, ask us shit, like subscribe. We're here for y'all. So this is Eli and Shay signing out, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Later.